Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 22nd of May, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar index, still pushing higher. Did decline a little bit yesterday, but we're trending up, and so that strong dollar is still playing there. Euro continuing to look weak against the dollar. 114 is the downside target, so that's still 3.5% below where we are now. And the Japanese yen, we're seeing the dollar strength just continuing here as well. And sterling still looking weak against the dollar, teetering along at this 134 level with downside targets to 132, 133. If we look at sterling against the euro, we see a decline over the last couple of days, a little bit stronger this morning, but generally weak. And against the Swiss franc, we see sterling is also bearish below the cloud on the short-term chart. And against the Aussie dollar, 177. So really falling away there. Aussie dollar strength in line with US dollar strength. Sterling falling lower. Bitcoin is just managing to hold on to its bullishness above the cloud with a lagging line, but still medium term struggling. We do have this downside target of 7,997. Remember, this is a log scale chart, so the numbers won't always be precise. Let's say $8,000. That's 4% lower. And if we look at US markets, quite a strong day yesterday, up 0.75% on the S&P. The Nasdaq was the Nasdaq 100 up over 0.5%. Interesting that tech's still lagging a little bit. The Dow was up 1.2, so the very large caps having a big impact there. And if we look at the Russell 2000, we see also it pushing higher as well. The futures this morning, little changed. It is early, still in the morning to make a call on which way the US will open, but they're fairly flat. The FTSE 100 also not open yet, but did make another record close yesterday to a new high. Weaker sterling and strong oil. Remember, the oil majors in the UK market are a big factor. And if you saw my report yesterday on the 29 top European stocks, you were seeing a lot of them were in energy, so utilities and energy looking strong at the moment. UK mid caps looking strong as well, and the DAX is also still trending up and looking pretty strong. Down slightly this morning, but looking strong. The CAC Quarante also making new highs, so that's looking strong as well. And if we look at the Japanese market, pushing higher, just starting to come out on that medium-term trend. Interestingly, that Europe is making new highs, the US market not yet managing to do that. Same with Asia. So Europe is looking the stronger at the moment, but we really still have got to wait for these new US highs to be absolutely certain. That was the Hang Seng. Chinese market looking a little bit better, having recovered in the last few days. Indian market was down yesterday and looking still pretty weak. It's flat overnight, but short-term weakness. Oil price having probably quite a significant effect as India's a net importer of some size. The Australian market just falling away a little bit. The stronger Aussie dollar probably not helping there. Brent crude continuing to hold on to its gains, so 79.40 at the moment, having pulled back below the $80 mark, but really holding its strength, and that's interesting when we're seeing short-term upside targets there as well. The same with WTI pushing higher, sitting at 72.50. US nat gas, little changed at 282, as really has been sitting here for quite some time. If we take a look at gold, gold still just struggling short term. We're sitting at 1289 at the moment, just teetering along at this level. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. We do have a downside target of 1266. The 1285 target was met, so that is bearish confirmation in the short term. We do have this downside target, but we still do have a bullish picture on the longer term charts. Silver not looking as good longer term, bearish below the cloud on the longer and medium term charts. Shorter term, though, we do have an upside target of 2%, so it's looking quite interesting. US 10-year yield sitting at 3.07%, just ticked down to 3.06, but we are still seeing here strength in the medium and long term, but just short term we're coming back. We've got a target here down 4% of 294. But that is a loan target, of course. I mentioned that the tech indices was just lagging a little bit. Apple was up 0.7%. Interesting that the Dow Jones was up 1.2%. Apple's a constituent, but it obviously wasn't driving that 1.2% change overnight. Amazon was up 2/3%. And if we look, Google was up 0.8%, so actually performing a little bit better. You'll note that I've been fairly concerned about Google's lack of performance. And Facebook up 1%. Microsoft also just holding on to its gains, up nearly 1%. But it's interesting that these tech stocks are not managing to break out at the moment, so that is probably still a little bit of a concern in the market. That's it for today. Keep an eye on the charts. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.